Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Palmer, Dr. Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 335. That's 335. Glad if you're been here before, glad that you're here. If you're just here first time, come on down. I talk about a variety of topics. Don't dive too much into politics, but dive into things that matter to me, drive me over the edge, make me rage about it and talk about it. So check that out. I'd love to see you subscribe. I'd love to see you give me a thumbs up. Notification if you want. Hype if you can. Don't know how that works yet, but you can do that. Okay, so let me get this whole thing kicked off. I titled this Update from South Sudan. And the reason why I call it South Sudan is that I live in Southern California. And living in Southern California, the power grid is absolutely horrendous. And I mean horrendous is that, when you go and live in the first world, you expect that you flip on the switch, light comes on, all of that. Now, I have 40 solar panels. So I know you're saying, but John, you could be grid free. I could if I had a big old battery, but that's another big chunk of dough. By the way, you should go buy a bunch of stuff from me, and that way I can go put up a battery and feel better than that. But here's the reality is that the power went out the other day, and just as I was crashing out for the day, which sucks because of course there's always this adrenaline drop that happens, and everybody in my little area was out of power with the exception of my neighbor across the street who does have battery backup, and good on him. And for 84 minutes we were out of power. I was the first guy to call in to Edison, Southern California Edison, and say, hey Bobby, we're down. Now, it's great to be acknowledged for being number one, but not about that. That wasn't that cool of an idea. So that was the reality of that the other night. Now, so I know you're thinking, hey, John, this is a first world problem, but actually it's ridiculous living in one of the largest metropolitan areas in the entire country of the United States. First world, biggest economy, everybody talks about it. And you know what? They haven't built a power plant here for decades. They haven't done any of those things. And the grid absolutely is super fragile. Oh, by the way, they've got a new way of handling these fire situations, which is the grid just shuts down. See, when the grid blew out in the Eastern Seaboard in New York, I mean, they made movies about it. They had people who studied it. It was a failure of the system. But now it's how to solve the liability problem. So what the power company does is, hey, these power lines generate heat. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's just shut it all down. Oh, isn't that a good way to do it? Bullshit. Okay. So without a doubt, this is at the least, it's annoying as all hell. But luckily, I keep building more and more coping strategies. I've got batteries, I've got flashlights, I've got lanterns, I've got all kinds of things. So I'm basically building my own mini piece of it. And again, let me just point out to you that I would like to get a full-blown battery, but that's a change in a big way. Now, so at some point in time, am I going to spend the money on that and do that? Well, I was at the Home Depot coincidentally, and these two guys, not one, but two appointment setters, pretty good guys. I would probably hire them for my businesses if I had a retail kind of thing. And they were pushing really hard for me to update my solar system, which was put in 2014 and is operating very well, knock on wood, and all of that. But what I pointed out to them is that to put in a battery is a bitch. By the way, all of the videos that you see where they say that the prices have come down 10,000x and all that shit, bullshit, because that is not the way it really works. Sorry to all you fan solar boys out there, because I can tell you that it's the cost of putting up a frickin' panel on the roof all the way in, all in. Regulatory costs, bolting everything down, got to have them racked, got to have them inverted, got to have boxes to communicate, got to be able to put it all in your house. And that assumes your house is all ready to go. So while at maybe the solar cell level, it continues to go down and it gets better and better, but it's really overly optimistic. So, now neither one of these guys I was talking to, because again, they're just there to set appointments, understood the challenges of this. Now I can easily add a battery if and use the brand that I have, but I have to change all of the inverters, have to change my box, have to do all that. So now we're talking several $1,000s, even though they've given me the cheapy discount to do that. So there's one battery out there that looks like it would work, but it comes in at like $25,000. So now I've got to ask myself, well, how painful is it to be without power? Or what are my alternatives to putting in a generator or doing something like that versus 25,000 bucks? And where is the payoff? See, the issue is, all you green fanatics, is that it doesn't matter how cool this sounds. It's does it eventually give you an ROI? Now, how the state of California is doing it is they keep jacking up the electrical costs, hoping that they're going to force more of us to do it. Now, they're paying me less money now than they were years ago for the excess energy that I create because, well, at times of the day, there's a glut of energy and all of that. Well, it'd be cool if you really want to fix this grid, you really want to make it better. But again, this is the death grip of those who are hanging on and saying, well, we have to control this. Yeah, you do have to control it. But I'll tell you, my neighbors would be happy if I sold them excess power at a discount. I would be happy because I'd be making more money. I probably would put in a battery then. Anyway, yes, I'm able to get through this because it's just me working it out. See, normally if somebody has a power outage, you got a hurricane, a tornado, a tsunami, earthquake. You got something massive happens, and then you get blasted out. I got it, but that isn't what's going on here. In fact, I predict there will be more power outages because the power companies have been sued. Everybody's getting sued. So now what they do is they'll just turn off the freaking grid and away we go. Oh, well, there you go. And that is, I think, in fact, totally unacceptable and is, in fact, bullshit. So looking forward to the next crash, see when it's going to happen. It's amazing to me how this system has absolutely no feedback. There's no way for me to do this other than on YouTube to say, listen, guys, listen, people, we got to fix this thing because there's no mechanism to get how absolutely pissed I am about this. And why did I pick South Sudan? Because it has one of the lowest electrification, that means electricity to people, in the entire globe. I mean, 21% of the entire country has electricity. And now I'm not knocking them. In fact, I think that they should spend, instead of spending money on guns and bullets, build a damn grid. But for heaven's sakes, don't ever hire anybody from Southern California as a professional to help you do that. All right. Now, before I leave, I would just want to point out to you that I do have not one, but two books, but this book is mine. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Available. This is, as you can tell, real book, physical book, not some, half-ass thing. And you can get it from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, wherever books are sold. You can get a physical copy. You can also get one of those from positiontowinbook.com. Also, you can get it digitally from Amazon Kindle, Apple iBooks, and Barnes and Noble Nook. So with that, all I can say is have a good one. Hopefully your lights are going to be on and you won't have the energy crashing because it is ridiculous to not have that. Oh, and by the way, what if I was doing something very serious? My wife has a medical condition which requires us to have batteries to back up her device, which she needs to breathe. With that, this has been John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Spade Selling, the Raging Verbalist, and we are out, but not out of power, at least today. Have a great one, and we'll see you on the next Raging Verbalist.